Hi, my name is Cody Turner. I'm an assistant professor of philosophy at Bentley University, and I led the first panel on human enhancement for the Horizons in Ethics and Information Technology conference. We had Anders Sandberg, Lillian Santos, and Massimo Reichlen. Some of the topics that we traversed through, one is the traditional therapy versus enhancement distinction and the usefulness of that. We talked about some of the gray area cases like transcranial direct stimulation, and you can imagine that's typically used for a kind of therapy for people with depression, for example, but it's increasingly being used to improve memory in otherwise healthy individuals. And so that's a gray area case where you can imagine someone with borderline dementia who uses that, and it's not objectively clear whether that constitutes enhancement versus therapy. We had Anders talk about the distinction between extension and enhancement, right? Cognitive extensions adding entirely new capacities versus enhancements which are improving existing capacities, and how that kind of cuts across the traditional therapy enhancement distinction. We also talked about moral enhancement, and Massimo has an argument, a kind of moral agency argument against moral bioenhancement, right? So he draws a very stark distinction between conventional enhancements like education and caffeine and more radical kinds of enhancements like neurostimulation or nootropic drugs. And the worry there is that those more radical kinds of enhancements can directly undermine one's rational agency. It can bypass it. And that's a threat to one's autonomy, their capacity for achievement. And so those enhancements we should be more wary about. And for Massimo, I think the more relevant distinction isn't therapy versus enhancement, but a kind of means versus ends distinction, whether the intervention, the means, is bypassing rational agency or not. One of the last conversations that we had was then on the governance surrounding enhancement. Lillian talked about the work that she's done on analyzing WHO's 2021 Global Governance Framework for genomic editing. And one of the things that she found in doing that thematic analysis is that that document actually shares a lot of assumptions and themes of a lot of transhumanist documents. And that led to a kind of productive discussion about the tension or lack thereof between traditional bioethics approaches to these things and kind of transhumanist approaches to enhancement.